Hey, everybody. It's Dr. Mack again, and I'm coming in hot with another topic. This time, I want to briefly talk to you about covenant and partnership. Yeah, that ship. Covenant and partnership. Many people, I've seen this, where many people enter into relationships, partnerships, covenants, and the like for selfish reasons, for selfish gain, for manipulation, for control, to fill a void, if you will. They also enter into these covenants and partnerships because they have mama issues or daddy issues. I know people don't want to hear that, but truth is truth. They have these wounds and they feel as though if they enter into this partnership or this covenant or they hold on, tag along, if you will, become the glue that sticks, that it will fix the issue. And so what we do is we will build what we call false covenants, false partnerships. And the question that I want to ask you tonight is, what kind of covenant or partnership have you entered into? Is it from a place of truth? Are you in a true covenant or a true partnership where there's a fruitful exchange, or a harvest, or is there depletion? I know it's a hard truth. People don't want to hear about it, but it is true. And I've sit and I've observed many people entering into these relationships, or I like to call them ships, if you will. You all aboard the ship, right? You come aboard this ship, and you come aboard with a false expectation. You come aboard with you have manipulation, intentions, control, and all of those things. And so when you think about and you begin to do a self-examination of all of the relationships, the ships that you have come aboard, you have to be honest with yourself and ask, is it really a true covenant or a true partnership, a true covenant, or is it something else? And so when we think about a covenant, pretty much the definition in short for a covenant, a true covenant is you have a binding agreement. That means you've come together. How can two walk together lest they agree, right? And so if you're in agreement, and it's not always to say that you're going to always agree, because you can agree to disagree. And when you agree to disagree, there's no offense, there's no harm, there's no foul, there's no division, there's no strife. You have just simply have two different opinions, but you find a way to come and you marry and you meet in the middle, right? It is a promissory. You're promised to uphold your end of the bargain, just like that person does the equivalent. You stand behind your words. I remember my mother always used to tell me growing up, Michelle, if you don't do nothing else, be a woman of your word, right? And because if you are a person of your word, it will carry you where your feet cannot travel. It's commitment. Covenant is a commitment. It's a commitment on both sides. It's not one-sided. It's not you gimme, and I'll take. A covenant, a true covenant, is where you come in agreement. You come together. It is a commitment for both people. And then you also there's loyalty and not obligation. There is a difference, because a lot of people, they say they enter into a covenant, a partnership, but they're actually there out of obligation. They're there to people please, as opposed to there as from a form of true loyalty. It is also requires a respect. It's a mutual respect, if you will. It's faithfulness. You're faithful to the covenant, the agreement that you came into, right? And so you want to think about those things. Partnership. They have similar characteristics or similar responsibilities, if you will. The partnership, it's relational. That of a covenant is relational as well. But the partnership is relational. When we think about partnership, we're thinking more about a business, things of that nature. But did you not know, if you work for someone, you've entered into a partnership and a covenant? If you're married, of course, that's a partnership and a covenant. When you go and buy a vehicle, or you purchase a home, or you're renting your property and things of that nature, when you sign your name on that dotted line, believe it or not, you have entered into a covenant and you have entered into a partnership. Why? Because the partnership, you are coming into a relationship, and it may not necessarily know, you may not know the owner, but the fact that you come into a relationship, where in a partnership, and as well as a covenant, that you are agreeing to do your part. right? It is also a togetherness. I always like to use the word two, the number two, the number two, and then gather, because the partnership is to two people. Like I said, how can two walk together lest they agree? It's a mutual respect. It's a similar to that of a covenant. There's an understanding, right? We know the scripture says that all that get an understanding, but you can't get an understanding unless you have an understanding. That means you have to have the inner part of you that's going to come in agreement, not the inner part of you. I have an ulterior motive, but I'm going to let the exterior part of me come together. That is not an agreement. That is not you coming together, because there's a divide with you and yourself. There's a divide on the inside and a divide on the outside. Anyway, I'm not going to labor there. There's communication, effective communication in a covenant and in a partnership. When you have true communication, it helps you to get to a place and space where you're supposed to be, right? It helps you to stay in that place. Then there's honesty, there's support, there is shared responsibility. You own your part, I own my part. There's integrity, right? Integrity. Yes, integrity is key. If you can't be a person of your word, then you lack integrity. That's a whole nother teaching in its own. And then the last thing I want to share is that the covenant relationships, when it comes to the characteristics, right? The covenant relationship, there is self-control, there is integrity, there's that word again. There's discipline, there's respect, there is maturity, and an opportunity for growth, right? You don't want to stay in the same place and space, and you partner with somebody and they want to be childish and foolish, and here you are, you're growing by leaps and bounds. There's something off there. There's a yoke that is unequal. Then there's the true counselship. When they talk about true counselship, you're open to receive true counsel, wise counsel, where you're open enough where the person is going to speak truth to you without you getting in your feelings, right? There's an equal exchange. As I mentioned that before, there is an equal exchange. It's not you give me, and I'll take for selfish reasons, or you being selfish and all of that kind of stuff. There's literally an exchange there. And then the last thing is there's a selflessness. When we talk about true covenants and we talk about true partnerships, there is a selflessness involved, right? It's for both parties it's not all about what you can get out of it or get from that person. It is about what you can give equally. And so we want to make sure that we are in a place and space where we are examining our covenant. We are examining our partnership. We are examining where we are and what part do we play in the covenant and the partnership, right? So I just wanted to drop those nuggets. This is Dr. Mac. I'm coming in hot, so just prepare yourself. Hey, listen, if you want to learn more about what I do aside of the leadership in the ministry, come join me over on YouTube at Building Lives with Dr. Mac. Again, Building Lives with Dr. Mac is all one word. Hey, listen, this is Dr. Mac and the Truth and Transparency Coach. Bye for now.